UCTV viewers, Jayne Spooner, University of Minnesota Master Gardener here at Rice County. I'm just coming to you from my home computer. Kind of wanted to just check in on the new year, how it's treating you. Happy 2026. And just kind of wanted to do just a quick short of what's going on here to talk about and show you something that we had done back in December. In December, I videotaped with Troy a segment on flowers of Christmas. And one of the things that I talked about was amaryllis. And at the time, I kind of showed you the planting process and what it looks like coming in the box and the soil medium that it comes in. But I just had gotten mine all planted up, put them on. I have lucky to have a little garden window in my kitchen, so I've been able to watch it. And it's probably been 5 to 6 weeks, and they're saying usually 6 to 8 weeks you're going to start to see some bloom. So I just kind of wanted to show you the 3 that I have planted and where we're at with them. Now, I planted 3 different colors. So they're probably 3 different varieties. And so the growths are all going to be a little bit different. So what makes it fun is I'm just going to have some continuous bloom for a while. So I'm going to kind of show you the smallest one that I have here. And here it is. This is going to be the flower. It's going to be one stem. And see all these green shoots? This is what's creating the photosynthesis to send energy back into that bulb. And we're going to talk a little bit about what to do with it after the bloom comes up, blossoms, and dies off. So I didn't label the plots, so I don't really know what color they are. So that's kind of part of the surprise. So here's one of them that I planted. And here's the other one. Now, what's exciting about this one is the fact that it's going to have 2 different blossoms along with all this greenery. So I can't wait for that to take bloom and have a really big, beautiful flower display on the top of this stalk is however it gets. And last but not least, this is exciting. This one's almost going to be popping out its bloom. So I'm kind of thinking this might be the variegated pink and white one that we planted, but you can see how tall it is. And it's kind of probably already reached its height, and it's going to have several blooms that pop out on the top of this. So I'm kind of excited for this to take bloom and just have some nice blossoms in my little garden window as I work in the kitchen in the evenings doing dinner. And so we're kind of excited about it. But I also kind of wanted to talk to you about, I'm having Troy go back into the archives, and probably it was in 2021 that I videotaped a segment of what to do when your amaryllis gets done blooming. So we've dug back into the archives to pull that out and let you know what you should be doing with your amaryllis once it stops blooming. And you can actually save this, let it go into dormancy in the fall and bring it back out, and then try and regrow this next fall for next Christmas. So anyway, take it away, Troy, and let's roll that 2021 video. Now the hair color is probably going to be a little bit different, but so that's okay too. So anyway, happy 2026 and welcome to a new season of What's Growing On.
So today we're going to talk a little bit about amaryllis bulbs. Now, many of you see amaryllis being planted, October, November, so that they bloom at Christmas time. And we're going to talk a little bit about that, especially if you've never grown any and how to do it. I know it's January, but we're also going to talk about how to get them to bloom again and store them and get them to do some more blooming for you for next year and how to time that out. So here are my amaryllis. I was going to try and order some this year online rather than just going to a big box retailer and just picking them up there just so that I'd have a little bit more choice so that I had more to show you. But it seems a remodeling project in my kitchen took a little bit longer than anticipated, so I was scrambling at the end, but I did find these at a couple of big box retails, so I went to Menards or Walmart and found them there, and they're fine. They do well. I've had good luck with them, but I'm still yearning to see the different, kinds that they're out there, that they have double flowers or whatever. So what are amaryllis? Well, as you can see, they're kind of a trumpet-shaped flower. So it's really reminiscent of a daylily when you really look at it. And you can even find some that have a double bloom, but they grow up on a stalk and they kind of, stick up in the air like that. Some of them will kind of come to the side. So there's all different kinds of varieties. Now they bloom on this leafless stalk. This is kind of an example of something that may not bloom this year because it wasn't overwintered and put into dormancy correct, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. But this is what it's going to look like, and it doesn't look like much until you get those blooms starting to open up. So they're native to Africa, and they're from the Greek word amoroso, which means to sparkle. I kind of feel like that guy on My Big Fat Greek Wedding when he's like, give me a word, a Greek, I tell you how it comes from Greek. No index though. So anyway, so these came about the 1700s, and they've been known to bloom for some people for up to 75 years. So when you purchase an amaryllis, you're really purchasing a bulb. And when you look at it, it's really a little bit like a tulip. So it's a big bulb. And this is kind of what you're gonna get. It's a bulb like this with this top piece here, and that's where your stalk is going to come out in your leaves, and there's a great big root system down there. And this is what's going to come in the box that you buy like at a big box retail. Some of the garden, we don't have anybody in the area that really carries these as like a bare root bulb that you can go out and pick them and then just get your own pot. But if you went up to a bigger garden center up in the cities, you probably could find them where you could just pick them and then buy your own pot. But I buy these just in a kit. So it comes with the pot, it comes with the soil, and it comes with the bulb. Now the nice thing about it is when I open the box, I can kind of inspect the bulb a little bit. And you want it to be firm. You want it to not have any scarring on it or see any mold and mildew on it. So you're looking for a healthy bulb. If you're ordering them online, if you're buying them from a reputable dealer, they're going to ship you the best bulbs that they have because they want you to have success. Because nothing worries an online garden center catalog when they get bad reviews on stuff that you've sent. So they're very cautious as to what you do. And there's even a new thing coming out, and I've seen them, I haven't grown them, I don't know about it, but they're actually taking this bulb and dipping them in wax, and then you just sit and water them there. So I'm not quite sure, I haven't done a lot of research on it because, I don't know, they just don't appeal to me. So anyway, this comes with the pot, the bulb, and the soil is actually a compacted disc. And so when you're getting ready to plant it, you put the disc in here and you put hot water in it, about a cup of water, and let that soak, and that disc will expand, and so you're going to rough it up. So when you're choosing your pot, you want to make sure that it's a very narrow pot. They don't like a big pot. They really like to be root bound. And you want about 1 inch space between your bulb and the side of your pot. And you're going to want to leave part of this bulb up above the soil, because you can see this one's buried a little too deep, so that might be the reason why I'm not getting my flower stalk, but we'll see what happens there. So these pots that came with it did not have holes in the bottom. And of course I was busy, so I just threw some rocks in there to keep drainage, because they do like to be well drained. But if you use your own pot, make sure you find something with a hole in the bottom, because when you're watering, you're going to put it in your sink, and you want to just water it thoroughly and let it run all the way through, because they don't like to be overly wet. So you want to make sure that they drain completely. Like for these, I wait till the soil is about 2 inches dry down here, and I just water it gradually and kind of feel around down in there with my finger to see how deep the water is. And you're going to also want to fertilize these as it goes along. And you want to do just a water-soluble fertilizer, and you want to have between your nitrogen and your phosphorus and your potassium, you want your phosphorus to have a higher number than the others. And you're going to water your amaryllis once you get them planted about once a week, and you only want to do it at about half strength. And so just continue to water and fertilize, and that'll help with your growth and get you some big beautiful blooms. So okay, you've got them planted, they're growing, they're starting to bloom. So what do you do when they start to die off like this? So this is what the amaryllis flower looks like. It just kind of dries up. You're going to want to just either pull that off, or I'm just going to take some kitchen shears and just kind of work it down in there and just cut that off. Because the longer you leave that dead bloom on there, what's going to happen is energy from the plant is going to shoot up, and it's going to try and create a seed head there. And you don't want that, because you want that energy to continue to go back into the bulb, so it continues to grow the rest of it and produce blooms. And then once it's all done blooming, you still leave those stalks up, because you want to put it in the sun, and you want photosynthesis to happen on this to create that energy to go back down into the bulb. So in a way, this really is like a tulip. You know, everybody always questions, oh, my tulips are done blooming, my daffodils are done blooming. Can I just cut them back? No, you can't, because this bulb is really the energy source. It's kind of like a carbohydrate, and so the more photosynthesis that occurs within the bulb to go down into this bulb to replenish that energy, the better, healthier plant that you're going to have as it goes along. So you can see this is a red and white one. They come in red and white like this, a two-tone color. They come in a beautiful vibrant red. They come in pink, salmon, apricot. If you're ordering online, you can actually find some really exotic colors, some that are kind of streaked in green. There's one kind that's called a picotee, which is basically a white flower on it, and just the tiny edges of it are rimmed with like a bright red color. So the varieties are amazing and awesome if you look at them online on some of the garden catalogs. So what do I do now with the rest of the winter? Well, just leave it in a sunny window. Continue to water it. Again, it's creating that photosynthesis. It's going to continue to recharge that bulb. You want to, after it's done blooming though, you don't want to cut this stalk off. You want to leave it up, because as long as it's green, it's doing its photosynthesis job, and it's getting that energy back into the system. Like this one here, you can kind of see, I don't know if we can get the camera up that close, but this one's actually going to have some leaves sprouting out there, and that too is going to help with the photosynthesis to happen to get that. So once this turns brown, go ahead and cut it off, and just continue to water it, continue to fertilize it, and leave it in a sunny location. So springtime comes. Yes, spring is coming. I guarantee it. It better. So once, you know, the danger of frost is gone, usually mid-May, mid to end of May, you're going to want to put these outside. And you want to be able to climatize them. You don't want to put them out in the direct sun right away. You know, sometimes we have those really strange days in May where one day it's 60 degrees out and rainy, and the next day it's 90 degrees and high humidity. So you're going to want to start out by putting in some light shade, and then just gradually move them out into the sun. They really like about at least 6 hours of daylight, of sunlight on these to, again, keep that photosynthesis going. And you're going to see some leaves shooting out. Again, that's going to help with the photosynthesis process. So continue to water, continue to grow. So goes through the summer. Frost is coming. What do? First sign of frost, bring them inside, because they're not going to withstand frost. You're going to kill your bulb. So if you want to just put them in the window and let them come back and bloom whenever they want, they'll come back and start to bloom. But if you want them to bloom around Christmas or after Christmas, you're going to want to take and put these in a cool and dark place in your basement or a closet. Might be kind of hard in some of the newer homes because they tend to have heated basements, heated garages or whatever. My house was built in 1962, so my downstairs will get cooler, so I can put these down there. I have a closet down there, I have a back storage underneath my stairs, and so I can put them back there. But you're gonna wanna check them every couple of weeks. You don't really need to water them, you don't really need to fertilize them in that, but you're gonna start to see the leaves start to brown, and that's when you're gonna wanna cut them off. So once you put them in there, time them out for about 12 weeks after you put them into that cool, dark area. If you start to see some new growth like this coming on it, by all means, after that time period, bring them out, start watering them, start fertilizing them, put them in a sunny location, because they're gonna start blooming. If in that time from 8 to 12 weeks, and they're not starting to show some growth, pull them out. Or if you even want to wait a couple weeks later so it either blooms for Christmas or just after to have some color in your home, after you take all your decorations down, do that. But right away, bring them out, water them, and fertilize them. And hopefully you'll start to see some shoots and get another rebloom on it. As you bring them out of dormancy like that, people have asked, well, do I need to repot them? No, don't repot them. They like to be root bound. In fact, you don't need to repot them for 3 to 4 years. They're not going to get any bigger. You know, if you think you want to repot them or just put it into different pots, something a little more decorative, you know, make sure again that the pot is narrow and that there's only about 1 inch from the bulb all the way around. So there you have it. Those are amaryllis. And I know we probably should have talked about this back in November, but a lot of people will buy these, grow them, and just throw them out. But I at least wanted to share with you how you can prolong them and bring them back. Yes, next year, one of my husband's cousins, his wife does this, and she has phenomenal blooms every year. She puts them on Facebook, and I'm always in awe. So we're going to give it a whirl this year and see how that works for us. So I wish I remembered what colors were with this, but I think one of these is going to be kind of an orange color. So it's just kind of fun to have something that's flowering in your house in January and February. So while I'm kind of babying these through the next couple of months before the spring comes, there's some other things that I've been having some fun with here, because guess what's coming in the mail? Garden catalogs! Yay! So again, something to really, take a look at. I always like to go to the first couple of pages because it shows you what's new in flowers, perennials, annuals, vegetables. And believe it or not, I got my first order of seeds in the mail the other day. And the reason that I really was anxious to get some of these is I really would like to do a little bit more with container gardening with vegetables. So we have some container French green beans. That's for my husband because I don't like green beans. Some container zucchini. Got some container sunflowers. Some container-sized watermelons. So just trying some different things. But I hope that you join me the rest of the year as we go through the garden seasons. Y'all go out there and dig a little, and happy digging.